Jai Hind everyone. My name is Nishant Singh. I'm an ex-cadet from NDA 145th course and I was an army cadet and I was in Kiroscon. So before I start my recommendation story and what in my perspective led to my recommendation, I would like to put light upon that what it takes to get through a very rigorous selection process such as SSB. So I would not be wasting any time discussing what SSB is basically, but it is a test of your psychology, your group dynamics, as well as your personality as a whole. Now, coming on to my recommendation story. So, I remember it was December of 2020 and I was getting ready, packing my bags and all the stuff that was required, checking my documents to reach the selection center north that was in Kapurthala. So after reaching Kapurthala, all our documents got screened. All the documents are physically verified at the center, after which we were taken for the screening test. In the screening test, there is a series of tests that you are run through. Basically, I would say earlier it is an OIR test, that is Officers Intelligence Rating Test. So OIR was quite doable, it was not very difficult at my time. So OIR was a piece of cake, basically. After that, the major test that is required to get you screened in, that is PPDT, that is picture perception and description test. So we were run through the PPDT test. So in PPDT test, I remember they have shown a very blurry picture at that moment, and there was a variety of stories that had come out in our group. So according to me, I had seen a picture in which a railway station was visible. So I had made a story regarding me planning a trip with my friends, going to the trip, what all arrangement and planning was required. So my story was around my trip. That was the mode of convenience in that train was train. So after the PPTT test was done, our sheets on which we had written the story were taken away and we were taken to the discussion room where three SSS sat in front of us, and in the group they had divided the group in two because the group size was a little big, and the discussion started. So first we all narrated our story individually. After that we had started the discussion. So the point here is that what gets you through screening, what gets you through the PPTT test, it is not the, I'll not say that quality of story is not of matter. It is of matter, surely. The kind of perception you are building, the kind of psychology you are putting in behind it, all of that is very important. But the basic phenomena which I feel and what had led to my screening going very well was that my story was simple and the discussion was in a progressive mode. So the fundamental behind PPDT was not speaking more of points, not putting in more effort in writing the story, but making the story a planned, organized and progressive kind of fundamental. So the screening was done, we were sent to for having our lunch. After the lunch, an officer came and he had announced the result of screening. So I was screened in. After my screening was done, our bags were taken to our dorms, our dormitories, where we have to stay for next 4 days. Now the next day, that is the psychology test. In the psychological test, you are run through a very series of tests again, namely TAT, VAT, SRTs, self-description test. So it is a long rigorous test that involves a lot of writing. That too went well. I was able to write all my stories. I was able to do around 50 out of 60 SRTs. I was able to write all the words. My SD that I had prepared, I had written that, and everything in my perspective was going very well. And my interview, because I was chest number 3, so my interview was also planned on the day of psychology only. Now here comes the very bleak part. The interview part went really smooth and well because it was all the discussion that the interviewing officer had with me was onto my PIQ. So now coming on to the point, what is a PIQ form? So it is a personal information questionnaire form in which you write all your personal details and all the details of your achievements, all the details of your previous attempts of SSBs you have faced or any NSB or AFSB you have faced. So the interview went very smooth. So I remember I walked in and the interviewing officer asked me how I was. I greeted him, I sat down, and then he started asking me about the place I come from, my parents, my friends, my teachers, what I like, what I don't like. And then he started discussing about National Cadet Corps. So now, joining the forces had always been clear in my mind. And the day I was clear that I have to join forces, I had started building up my achievements in accordance to that. So I had been an active participant, uh, I've been in various activities organized by NCC. So I had attended the national cadet camps, very honorable camps at national level, such as RDC, PBC, and I was also selected for youth exchange program Russia, and I went there as a delegate. Now coming on to another perspective of the interview. So there were many certain questions that were very much congruent and that they were very much similar to what I had written in self-description test. So now putting on to a point here that self-description test frames and mirrors your personality not only for the psychologist but also for the interviewing officer. So interview being my strong part, interview went really well, and my interview was hardly of 45-50 minutes. After that, the next day the GTO tasks started. The GTO tasks also were going very well. In between, there was one task that I feel that I could have done better in it. That was the lecturate part. In the lecturate, I thought that I was not able to fulfill all the information that was going in around my head, and I was not able because of the time constraints. But there also, you have to play smart. That smart play helped me getting through that. After all the GTO tasks were over in the next 2 days, then was the conference. So my conference was very brisk, very short, and I went in. They asked me how many friends I have made. They asked me did I like the food, and I came out of the conference hall. Then again came an officer in olive green glorious uniform to announce our result. And when he announces my chest number, I was the happiest guy on this planet. After that, all the medicals went away and everything went on. Merit list came, and then my call letter came, my joining letter for the academy. Now, experience at academy. So I would feel that experiencing academy is not just about experiencing the training part that is going on there. It is about the kind of passion you have before joining the academy. That passion reflects in the academy. You'll make friends that are there for you for life. The sad part is, due to some unforeseen and unfortunate reasons, I was discharged from the academy. I had to leave the academy in February 2022. So I have an experience of 3 terms spending my time in the academy, because in academy survival is the key. You have to survive every single bit of day, because they'll do anything to make you the toughest on the planet. Now, as I put so much emphasis onto the process and specifically interview, and I've already told you that according to me and what the result has shown me, interviews are my strong part. And to take care of that, I'll be your personal guide and mentor for interview part on Officer's Mind. Thank you.